What is up, everybody? Johnny Blacklight Bro here, and today we've got a wild Dogman encounter story to get into. Pretty interesting one I found on TikTok, so let's check it out.
This is going to be one of the scariest stories I've ever told, and it takes place in Ohio 30 years ago. Now, this story can be found on the Belief Hole, and it's by a judge in Ohio. So this person has nothing to gain from making up this story, and they only have something to lose. And it's about this judge's experience when he's a teenager. So get your popcorn, get your blanket, get cuddled in, and get ready for this story. It was a hot summer night back in 1980, and the future judge was training for a cross-country meet. So it was really hot in the daytime. He figured he would wait to do his running at night. And when you run out in the country at night like he was doing on Highway 4, the streetlights are pretty far apart. As you might notice, some of the streetlights aren't even on. The next streetlight is way down the road. But the judge was jogging. He started off in a light jog. He was just getting warmed up, getting stretched. And as each leg of the darkness, he just thought to himself how good the night air felt. He couldn't do this training in the daytime. Tonight, he was scheduled to run 7 miles. Now, he had put this off, so it had gotten pretty late, and it was about 9:30 p.m. when he hit about his first mile into this. Now, where the judge lived, it was nothing but long state highway and cornfields as long as you could see. In fact, it looked like an ocean of cornfields. So as the judge was jogging, he was just thinking about how, great life had been here lately. He was going to be going to college next year. Everything was going his way. It looked like he was going to get that scholarship for the track team. Life couldn't be better. And as he's jogging, he was thinking, this would be nice to have my music. But tonight he didn't have his Walkman with him. And of course, this was before cell phones and other technology that we have today. So as he's jogging, his breath's getting kind of heavy. He's getting warmed up. He's about to pick up the pace when he realizes that he's not running alone. To his right was nothing but a cornfield. To his left was nothing but a cornfield. And he couldn't see another street light for about another 50 yards. And as he's jogging, he's looking. He notices the corn is jostling. It's moving around. He's thinking, is that a dog? Maybe it's a coyote. And then as he's going, he's thinking, well, Halloween's another month and a half away. Surely, no one's playing a prank yet. And he's looking and he can just tell the corn's moving, but he's finally made it to that next street light. And that's when he gets the glimpse of a shadow moving between the corn. Now, he's still at a decent jog, so he's thinking it'd be pretty easy to keep pace with him if it was a person. Maybe it's an animal. He goes. It's another 100 yards of darkness, just like what I'm experiencing right now. But he can tell there's light up ahead. As he makes it to the next ring of light, he gets another good look at this thing, and he sees that this shadow is a big, hulking shadow. And he realizes, oh my gosh, this is a person. At worst case scenario, this is a bear. He's ruled out dogs, coyotes, wolves. There's not even wolves in that area, but the thought crosses his mind. This is a person or a bear running next to me. And to his right, it's only like 20, maybe 15 yards away. It's only about 3 rows into the corn on the other side of the highway. And he's thinking to himself, I know I'm fast. So what I'm going to do is when I hit this next street light, I'm going to get another good look at it. He's going. And then he sees it. He sees the silhouette of what has to be a huge person, and it is definitely on 2 legs. And he goes, oh my gosh, this guy's after me. This guy's chased me. There's no way somebody would be playing a prank like this. He's been chasing me now for about 200 yards, and he's staying in the corn. So he says, I'm going to pick it up the speed as fast as I can. He's not wanting to let the person know that he has spotted them. So he gradually picks up that speed. And he's just thinking, I know they can't keep pace with me. I know they can't keep pace with me. And even if they can keep pace with me, they can't keep pace with me for long. I'm almost a collegiate level athlete. There's no way they're staying pace with me. But they did. And he's thinking, this can't be human. Not only are they keeping pace with me, a fast individual for a long distance. He's been keeping this pace up for about 1/10 of a mile at this point. He's exhausting himself. The person or thing is running in corn on uneven terrain and still being able to keep pace with him. That's why he knows at this point, this has to be something supernatural. This can't be a person anymore, right? There's no way.
Exactly, man. That's what's so weird about this one is that it's running through the corn and steadily keeping track with him and keeping pace with him like that. Which, like he says here, just rules out this being just a human. You know what I mean? Something with that kind of agility and that kind of power and speed that can just run through this like he said at the beginning, a sea of cornfields, and just keep up with him like that is just so crazy. And that atmosphere too is just very creepy. Just being alone with this thing chasing you in the middle of nowhere like that, just cornfields as far as the eye can see. No way.
So this continues because there's nowhere to go. What are you going to do? Turn around and go back home? You're more than a mile away from home at this point, about 2 miles in actually. There's only corn on the left, corn on the right. He knows my buddy's house is about a 10th of a mile away up there. Worst case scenario, if they're not home, because it was a Friday night after all, if they're not home, I'll climb into his tree. When we were kids, we used to play in that tree house all the time. I'll climb this tree. I hadn't been there in a few years, but I'll do it. That's where I'm going to climb this tree up. And he knows this is the next house. There's no other houses before his friend's house. So he's looking over. He's looking over. He's looking over. He's wanting to be conspicuous because he doesn't want the person or thing to know that he knows it's there. Because once he notices that it notices him, it might just go ahead and give up the facade and get him. So he's wanting to get to safety first. So what does he do? He makes it to the friend's house. And he's looking. There's no lights. Oh gosh, he can see it coming up. There's no lights on it. And he decides once he gets level with this tree, he's going to just scale this tree. Right when he gets level with the tree, he realizes there's been a huge brush pile by the road. They had just recently trimmed the trees, and he could not believe his luck. There's not even limbs for him to grab onto to climb, and he just panics. At this point, even though he's hot from running, his blood just runs cold. He's pale as a ghost. He knows the next option is about another 1/10 of a mile away. It's the next house, and it's his other friend's house, and he tells himself that at my next friend's house, I don't care if I have to jump through the window, I'm going through the glass, I'm getting in that house. He's running. He's running. He's running. Now, he's a great athlete, but at this point, he's been running as fast as he possibly can for an ungodly amount of time. He is just not giving it up, and he notices this corn is moving at the same pace. It's not giving it up either. At every passing streetlight, he catches another glimpse of its shadow, its big hulking figure, of it just ripping and tearing about 3 rows into the corn. And at this point, he can hear it because now it's getting tired too. And then he has a thought. What if I can't out-tire this thing? What if it wants to give up this chase? And at that moment, he sees his friend's house, and he sees that there is one light on in the bedroom. So he's like, oh my gosh, somebody's home, somebody's home. But if they don't open the door immediately, this thing has got me. I'm cooked, it's over. So he decides, am I going to jump through the glass? What am I going to do? He's running now. His friend has a privacy fence around the back of the yard. Right before he gets to his friend's house, a semi-truck comes up over the hill, and he goes, oh my God, I'm going to jump in front of this semi-truck and just wave it down. I've not passed any cars this whole time. I'm just going to jump in front of the road, and it's going to stop. I don't care if it hits me. Something's got to save me from what this thing is coming at me. He jumps in front of the semi-truck, and as he jumps in front of the semi-truck, he hears the corn break. He looks over. It is broke out of the corn, and now he has seen only what could be described as a true nightmare. Now, the judge said this was not a werewolf. It was not a Bigfoot. It was what he describes looking like Anubis, the god of death over there for Egypt. It had this big hulking body, but not a barrel-chested like a...
That's an interesting aspect here with this one, too, is it looking like Anubis. I don't know if I've ever really heard that kind of description for a Dogman encounter sighting before. It'll usually be something more along the lines of a giant German shepherd standing on 2 legs with like a humanoid-type body. So that's a very interesting and terrifying detail here. Also, shout out to Nomad's Animal Encounters, the poster of this video. His acting skills in this are great, man. This is just a great way to tell the story. Super entertaining.
And it had a big rounded chest, kind of like a Doberman Pinscher has, and it had this really sleek back hair, and it had a really long snout. And he said you could see teeth hanging out of each side of it, and it was like... But the semi-truck light is casting all on it, and it's casting on him. The semi-truck does not even begin to slow down. So he goes, oh my God, it's going to run me over. So he jumps to the left of it. The semi-truck is now between him and it, and he knows it's right on the road, and he has looked for years for the semi-truck driver to see if he also saw it, but he's never been able to find the man. As soon as the semi-truck goes to pass him, he just takes off running. His friend's house is right behind him. And he knows if I go knock on this door and he doesn't open it immediately, or if the door's not unlocked, I'm done. So he jumps the fence. He climbs over the fence, and as he climbs over the fence, he sees his friend's pool in the backyard, and he just makes a split decision to head first dive into this pool. And as he dives into the pool, it's almost like his body's about to shut down on him all at once. And he stays under the pool.
That's so crazy, man. So imagine the feeling of fear you'd have to be feeling to just dive straight up into a pool during this chase, man. Oh, dude. It's just such an unimaginably scary situation to be in.
At the bottom of it for what he said felt like 5 minutes, but he goes, I know it was probably just 10 to 20 seconds. And I'm already exhausted. I already can't breathe. So I come up. I was just waiting on this thing to look at me over the pool and just yank me out of the water. And he comes up and he looks around the backyard. There's nothing there. So he tells himself, okay.
Creepy, man.
I'm going straight from my friend's house. I'm going to open the door and I'm going in. He goes up to the friend's sliding back door and he opens it and it's not locked. He goes, oh my gosh, thank goodness. He turns around and he closes the door behind him. And he said, this is where things got even stranger, because over on the couch, butt naked, is his friend. His parents weren't home, and he had figured out how to get the Playboy channel back on the TV when they had those big giant dish satellites. And he says his friend's over there just going to town, and then looks over and sees him and screams. And now he went from this most terrifying moment of his life to the most awkward and also terrifying moment of his life. And they're both freaking out. He's screaming because the friend thinks his parents have came home and like caught him watching the Playboy channel. And it's his other friend that's just trying to not die. He's fighting for his life. And he tells him, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And the friend is also, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he goes, no, you.
That's so hilarious, man. Just these two different situations, man. Just utter fear and utter embarrassment just combining into this story here. It's just such a crazy detail, man. That's so wild. So hilarious that that's what happened to be going on whenever he's running for his life into his buddy's house. Oh, man.
You gotta shut the hell up. Call the police, call the police. And he didn't want the police to think he was crazy, so he said, just somebody is chasing me. Somebody is chasing me. They call the police, and while they're waiting on the police to get there, he goes, you can understand, you can't go outside. You can't go outside. This thing is after me. So he tells his friend what really happened. And his friend is still in shock because of what he was just doing, and he's just completely scared to death. But they take a peek outside the window while they're waiting on the police. And just on the other side of the interstate, they think they can see something looking at them out of the corn. This thing was standing on the other side of the highway still, and this time it had kind of hidden itself in the front row of the corn, but it was still peeking out of him, and he said he could see its chest. And its chest was still heaving with exhaustion. And then it sees that he is.
That's so terrifying, man. Just straight up farming fear, dude. That's what this thing's doing, I think. Just that intimidation factor of it still being there and just still lurking on you and just watching you from afar like that while it like creepily catches its breath. Oh, man.
He's looking at it through the blind. And then it steps out of the corn so he can see it head to toe. Like, look at me. I am real. You did see what you saw. So him and his friends see this thing, and they're both just terrified, not knowing, what do you even do? And then it steps back into the corn, and it walks away. The police got there. They were told it was a person that chased him, and they searched. They looked for footprints in the corn. They looked for broken corn. They couldn't find anything, but he was from a well-to-do, rich family. They did believe him, supposedly. But they were told it was a person that chased him. They looked and looked, and this was back before security cameras or Ring doorbells, and they could not find any proof or evidence that anybody had actually chased him. So they had to drop it. For the next 7 years, the judge refused to be outside at night because he said in his brain, at the back of his mind, he feels like this thing has got his scent, and that if he ever tries to go outside at night again, it's going to stalk him. And
that's just such a horrifying thought to have, man. It's just such a life-changing experience there. Just to be terrified to even be outside alone at night for that long. Oh, man. And just thinking that it has your scent and it will come after you if you're vulnerable like that. Oh, gosh.
Chase him and follow him. And that's a very important detail, because if you guys are big fans of Dogman, it's not a werewolf. Dogman, which is what he firmly believes it was, is what's known as a fear eater.
Exactly.
Every Dogman story you hear, the Dogman always chases the person. It chases him, it harasses them, it scares them, but it never quite catches them. It's like it just wants to feed off that energy and that fear. And that brings us back to an important detail, because I believe they tell us the truth in pop culture. And when you watch Monsters, Inc., what do the monsters do, right? They don't want to eat the kids. They want to scare the kids. It's like they're getting power, getting fuel, getting fear off of that. And if you believe in the Bible and other different, things that talk about demons and stuff, it talks about how they feed off of fear. They feed off of that terror, that worry, that anxiety.
Yep.
And he believes that's exactly what this Dogman was and is. For 7 years, his life was changed. He said if he was out in town somewhere and it started to get dark, he was making sure that he was home. It really took a toll on his dating life and his whole personal history. Like, it just, really changed his life for a long time. And then he said he just finally one day was over that fear and he just wanted to live his life like normal, and he's never had an encounter like that again. But in that area of Ohio on State Highway 4, the Dogman has been reported there more than any other place in the whole United States. For about the past 30 years, since the early 1980s to the late 1970s, there has been depictions of Dogman and werewolf, and no one truly knows why, with one exception. There's a lot of Indian burial grounds in Ohio, if you didn't know. Actually, one of the biggest Indian burial grounds in the whole United States is there. And they used to do a weird thing at those Indian burial grounds, if you didn't notice this. Have you ever heard of the black dog? They would bury dogs first, anytime they were going to bury a massive amount of their dead somewhere. And the dog, whatever was buried there first, was going to be the guardian. So they'd bury this dog there to protect that area. So maybe it's just chasing people away from that area. And maybe that cornfield had a burial ground in it somewhere, and it was just telling him, like, hey, don't be there. Because this was the first time he had ran at night, and it would be the last time he ran at night. I hope you enjoyed tonight's story. If you did, go follow the page. It's called Matt from Nomads on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's our podcast version of this. And you can also follow us on Facebook and TikTok. I prefer you watch me on Facebook if you can. It's called Nomads Animal Encounter. And then on YouTube and Instagram, we are Nomads Animal Reserve. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Sweet dreams.
Man, that last aspect too about it being a possible like guardian of Native American burial ground is very interesting, because I know Dogman is brought up in some Native American lore. I'm not really sure the details of it. I've just heard mention of it from like watching stories and reading about Dogman a little bit. And with it just scaring the crap out of people and chasing them out of there, man, it just sounds like maybe that could be plausible. That could be an explanation for what's going on with these things. But yeah, man, wonderful story, dude. Shout out Nomads Animal Encounter over on TikTok. Again, great storytelling, wonderful detail, and just a super creepy story with this one, dude. This giant Anubis-looking Doberman dogman creature just chasing this guy to his buddy's house like that out in the cornfields. Man, the atmosphere, ugh, so scary. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for the video, man. Just wanted to jump on, share this story, give some reactions, and see what you think about it in the comments, man. Let me know what you think. Also, if you have a Dogman encounter story, I'd love to hear it. And what do you think of the Dogman stories in general? Let me know. But yeah, man, like I said, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.